Hey, I'm Nick. Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to give you 7 tips for getting the most out of your woodworking tools and machines. As you know, if you have any experience as a woodworker, machines and tools to do this hobby or this craft can be very costly, so you want to take care of those machines and get the best bang for your buck. Tip number 1 is to replace your blades or bits or whatever the consumable is on that machine often. Also replace it early. So here's why it's important. If the blade is dull on your saw, the motor in that saw is going to have to work extra hard to keep up and cut through that wood because the blade's dull. It's going to be straining motor on the saw. The same applies to a drill press, for example. If the bit is dull, that motor is working extra hard, putting unnecessary strain on that motor to drill through the wood just because the drill bit was dull. Now, saw blades and drill bits aren't exactly cheap, but if you want to get the most out of your machine and be financially responsible with your expensive equipment, then replace the blades, bits, whatever it is, early and often. Number 2, keep any and all moving parts of the machines or the tools, keep them clean, greased, oiled, whatever it is. So for example, let's go back to a belt-driven machine. Clean out that sawdust. Don't have unnecessary dust and stuff caking up in there because that will cause wear and tear unnecessarily on the belt, and you're gonna have to replace the belt more often. Again, it can slow down the usefulness and the efficiency of the motor. You're gonna have to replace that motor or the whole machine's gonna break. Just keep everything kind of clean. If there's any bearings, keep them oiled. If there's any moving parts, especially metal on metal, try to keep that stuff greased and oiled as frequently as you can, free of debris, clear of dust, just to get that machine running as cleanly and as smoothly as possible so the motor doesn't have to work twice as hard, causing unnecessary wear and tear on your equipment. The third tip kind of goes hand in hand with the second, and that is to keep all the surfaces of your equipment clean. Now, this can mean physical flat top surfaces like the tabletop, the cast iron beds of your joiner, the tabletop, cast iron tabletop of your table saw, etc. But also just the housings, the casings on the machine. You don't want to get to the point where you're opening up a panel and just cakes of sawdust are falling out. That machine doesn't have a chance to breathe at that point, and it needs cold air, some of them do, to cool so that the engine's not overheating, etc. This might seem very minute and silly, but just keep your equipment clean. It may be a rumor, and it's probably a popular myth, but I've always told myself that if a car is clean, it just runs better, which they also run better with a full tank of gas. Just keeping your equipment clean will help them last longer, and if nothing else, it'll put you in the right state of mind to keep and to be mindful of taking care of your equipment, and you'll probably last longer in the biz. Are you subscribed to my channel? If not, can you please do so? I'll stop talking about it. Just subscribe, please. Tip number 4 is to investigate at the first sign of a vibration, a weird noise, whatever. If you're using your equipment all the time as your hobby, you know what it's supposed to sound like, what it's supposed to feel like, kind of the ambient noise of that machine. If something sounds weird, or if it's moving in a weird way, or if it's vibrating, investigate it, figure out what's causing that immediately. The last thing you want is to, oh, I'll do that next project. I'll do that on the next project. I need to hurry up and get this project done. Well, now that bearing is completely worn out. Or now that blade has completely stripped the inside of the casing. Whatever it is, investigate the weird, odd stuff that's not normal as soon as possible. Take care of that immediately so that maybe a little bit of preventative maintenance prevents you from having to buy a brand new machine altogether. Tip number 5. Now, I realize this may be difficult for some people, but the tip is to keep your equipment in a climate-controlled environment. And again, I realize that 95% of shops are not climate controlled. This tip applies to those of you that do have a climate controlled option or a portion of your shop though. If you do, keep it climate controlled because then it stays at the same temperature roughly year round. It doesn't matter if it's hot outside or cold outside. You're not having those major swings in temperature that can cause stress on your machines as the temperature gets hotter and it expands versus colder and it contracts. Climate controlled is generally better. Again, 95% of people probably do not have that option. You're either in a garage or in a carport, maybe not even in an enclosed area, maybe just under a carport. That's okay too. What I would say though is to try to keep it as minimal effect from the weather as possible. And this could be something as simple as covering up your machines at night with a tarp so that dew doesn't get on it in the morning, or putting a moving blanket over something at night just to keep that, try to insulate the equipment Again, your situation is going to be different. Depends on what part of the country you're living in, if humidity is a thing or not. If you have major temperature swings or not, that can play a factor into it. But just being mindful of the temperature changes as well as humidity changes, moisture level changes in the air, that can all play an effect on your machines. If you're in a super humid environment, you may be more prone to some rust and stuff like that on your cast iron surfaces. Again, not the end of the world, just do some preventative maintenance to keep up with that. Keep those surfaces clean. Go in with a fine grit sandpaper or a Brillo pad or something and clean that rust off, seal it with some wax just to try to take care of your equipment. Tip number 6 is fairly obvious, and that's don't put unnecessary stress on any part of the machine. Here's what I mean. If a machine is designed to sit flat on the floor, don't have it up on one block and down on the floor on another block and it's cockeyed. Because that frame of that machine or that housing may not be designed to handle that unnecessary weight distribution. Also, don't have kinks in your cords. Don't have a machine sitting on top of a cord that's damaging the power cord to the machine. Just unnecessary stress, that's what I mean. If a machine is made to sit on the floor, don't attach it and mount it to the wall using 1/8 inch thick aluminum housing that's on the machine, right? Just a lot of this is common sense, but just be mindful of unnecessary stress on your machines. This will lead right into the final tip number 7, which is use the machines as they are designed. Don't get silly with your machines. If you want to do that, then forget about being mindful and taking care of your machines. If you want to be silly with them, just plan on having to replace parts and equipment more often. But use the machines as they're designed and also per the manufacturer recommendations. I know it's boring and we always throw the manuals away as soon as we get something out of the box, but sometimes it's helpful to read and understand what the manufacturer put in that manual. And the reason is because their engineers at the manufacturer design these machines to do very specific tasks in very specific ways. And so the way that you are using it may not be the way they designed it, and it might be okay for a while, but instead of that machine lasting 10 years, it may only last 5 because you're doing something that machine just wasn't designed to do. If you found this video at least a little bit helpful, hit the thumbs up button. It's right down below. I would certainly appreciate it. I will see you on the next one. Take care.